Welcome, everybody. This is a Literacy Leadership Mentorship Series, and we are so excited to start something new, something on the edge, something with 6 incredible mentors plus some bonus mentors in the future to share our learning, our growth, our wisdom to help you maximize your potential as you go through this journey of bringing more knowledge of the science of reading into your practices, into your leading, and into your life. So I am Danielle Thompson, and I am eager to show you or introduce you to my colleagues, but let's get started with our presentation. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, here we go. And I noticed that my presentation's in the middle of the presentation, so let me just back this up. And here we go. All right, so Terry, you want to start us off? Meet my colleague and friend, partner in this, Terry Nolan, coming to us live out of West Texas.
Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. So glad to be here with this amazing group of individuals. And this work is being put together and born out of this collective moment that happened between Danielle and I over a year ago, where we met and, okay, you like literacy? Oh, yeah, we like literacy. Oh, but there is something different in you enjoy learning about leadership. So when we're talking about being on the edge here, we are smashing these two things together, literacy, leadership. And in this journey of us growing ourselves as leaders is we've learned that mentorship has played just a critical, vital, important role in that journey. And because you have decided or are still on the fence of deciding about, hey, is this mentorship thing for me? People that get mentored produce at a higher level. They have outcomes at a higher level. So mentorship definitely has its privileges, and we have put together this amazing group of individuals that are going to be mentors. We're going to talk about what mentorship is, but it's all about your commitment to growth. As leaders, we should never stop growing. Our mentor, John Maxwell, tells us all the time is that growth is the only guarantee that tomorrow gets better. So we firmly, wholeheartedly believe that. And so we're going to tell you what mentorship is all about tonight.
You know, and Terry, let's just be honest. And Laura and Antonio and Mary and Jeannie, we're all about growing, and we put that word "grow your literacy leadership" there for a reason, because we have been working on something called the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership as Maxwell certified coaches. Several of us are, and really contemplating what these laws of leadership are and how they relate to literacy and leading in our schools, in our districts, in our states, in our nation. And so we've been putting our heads together for quite some time to grow our own knowledge and try to push the envelope even further. And so you've joined a network of literacy leaders that really want to push some boundaries, and we can't wait to mentor you and help support your commitment to growth. So get ready. I mean, it's going to be exciting and fun. So I'm going to take us on to meeting our mentors. And the first colleague we have here on your left, Jeannie Shop from Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, dear friend, but most importantly, probably one of the most voracious learners I have ever met. I had the privilege of stepping into Jeannie's life as a coach, but prior to that, I started to realize I might have become a mentor, and things that I didn't even know. Jeannie taught me about myself, because great mentees ask a ton of questions, and Jeannie knows how to ask questions. So welcome, Jeannie Shop. And now, Jeannie, if you want to say hi, if you want to drop in when you go ahead, yeah, wave. And our next mentor is Antonio Fierro, also coming to you from, well, a little bit Southwest Texas. I don't know if you Texans differentiate West Texas, El Paso, all that other stuff.
We do.
Yeah, we do. It's important.
We do.
And this piece, Antonio is, gosh, we've been friends for a long time. We entered the Language Essentials for Teachers of Reading and Spelling together years ago as actual teachers of the work. But in reality, we were also mentors of the work, something I don't think we've even deeply appreciated or discussed on a level. But when we mentor each other in the work, we grow so much more. And so I'm so grateful to Antonio Fierro for helping me become better at what I do and mentoring me through the work of learning what Louisa Moats taught us through letters at a deeper level in collaborative relationship and dialogue. And I'm going to introduce.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right? It's a powerful journey that we had, and we'll talk more about that when we tell our moments, mentorship moments. I'll introduce Terry, and then I'm going to let Terry take it over. Terry is truly in Tuscola, Texas, and that is outside of Abilene. After you fly into Dallas and drive 2 hours, and then you go another few minutes beyond that. And she's an amazing human who worked in preschools, led educators, really wanted to understand how to teach children to read, became a certified academic language therapist, also went on to get her doctorate in educational leadership, and then went on to realize that everything she needed to know about leadership was after she got her degree. So we welcome Terry as one of our mentors. And Terry, I'll let you take it over and continue the introductions.
Thank you so much. And I will introduce Dr. Nell Thompson. And as I said, I mean, literally, it was one of those moments in your life you look back on and the complete synergy that happened when we met each other for the very first time, because we had been living such similar lives that we finally, our paths crossed, and here we were, that she had been in schools as well, working on reservations, working in Alaska. Speech language pathologist came up in that world and went on to get her doctorate because she understood and she knew the impact. And in fact, there was a mentor moment in her life where she wanted to go around the world helping to educate children. And it was Dr. Louisa Moats, her mentor, that said, "Hey, Nell, there's kids right here at your back door that need help." So that's what she decided to do. And anyway, we have been fast friends and fast colleagues as a part of this literacy leadership journey. And I owe it all to Laura Stewart, who actually was the one that introduced us. So I had known Laura and the amazing work, and I'd been seeing this lady all over the place, and she had started out at all of these organizations in the Reading League, and then, oh my goodness, look at this woman. She's, a 95% group, leading so well. And if you don't know Laura, one of the great things that I say about Laura is she is such a connector. She is an absolute connector in this work. And so can't wait for you to get to know Laura in this work. I think she waved. All right. And finally, we've got Dr. Mary Dahlgren. We've got another icon in this industry, an individual that has been in schools for so long, that has built a business, not only built a business, but was able to come to find a situation where she was able to collaborate with others, 95% group, with selling her business at a new moment in her life, where now she is ready to dive in, give back, just got certified as a Maxwell Leadership Coach, Speaker, Trainer, Consultant. So Dr. Mary Dahlgren is here as well. So those are the 6 of us that are going to be your guides, your mentors throughout the course of this next several months.
Yes, it's so thrilling, because even we love learning from each other. We grow each other. We challenge each other. We keep each other accountable. So we're excited to be here learning with each other. So one of the things that we want to discuss in a learning moment today is what mentorship versus coaching is. And in schools, we really focus on coaching. We get leadership coaches, we get coaches for teachers, and there's wonderful evidence around that everybody deserves a coach. However, we rarely talk, in my opinion, about mentorship. So we wanted to differentiate what mentorship is versus what coaching is, because we have the opportunity to give you that offering. But in this experience, this is about mentorship, not about coaching. So Terry, take it away.
And we really want to help you understand mentorship. So we've all had mentors in our life, whether you've realized it or not. You have probably learned from someone at some point in your journey, and whether you knew them personally or you read some of their works or you followed them on social media or whatever way that they showed up in your lives, they probably provide some mentorship to you. And mentorship, as we know this word and know the meaning of it, is it's somebody that has been out ahead of you, that has been on the journey longer than you, that's been out in front and has done some of the things that you are currently trying to do. Now, does it say that we have done all of the things? It's not saying that at all, but we've collected enough experiences in our lives, enough learning in our lives. We've been in enough schools and districts. Couldn't even imagine between the six of us how many schools and districts we've been in around the country. And we have seen a lot of things, and the collective wisdom of us coming together as your mentors, because we've been out there, we've been doing this work for so long. So that's what mentorship is all about. We've been on the journey. Not saying you haven't been on the journey, because you have, but it is this collective wisdom and knowledge that we're bringing together. And as Nell said, we're sharpening each other every day of the week, that we sharpen one another. So we're learning along with you. So mentorship is someone in my life, whether I've known them personally, and we're going to get to know each other personally. So that's what's cool about this, or people that I've read their works, or that I've watched their YouTube channels, or whatever it is. Coaching is more about, all right, I'm going to sit knee to knee and toe to toe with you right now in this moment, because you've come to me with a problem. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do as the coach. I'm going to get you to understand how to create a situation where you can solve some of your own problems. I'm going to coach you through that moment, just like a football coach, a basketball coach would coach a player through a moment to say, all right, what can we do differently? What can we do better? How can we practice this skill, practice this thing? And we are going to move you through those moments. Coaching is a more sequenced type of thing that happens on a very regular basis, usually in a one-to-one setting. Mentorship happens like we're going to be doing in a big group setting.
Thank you, Terry. I think what I love about defining that difference is that mentorship comes to us in so many ways, and it's along our journey. And it's not just in that moment, like, I got a problem. Some of you might come to us and say, I have a problem. And we're going to be very excited to hear about how we can mentor you, but in terms of if you have a big problem that deserves a lot of coaching attention and sequential steps through it, we also have coaching options that we can do as well. But you will notice that we'll try to keep that differentiated throughout this work. Now let's learn about our mentor moments. And as I was prepping for this with our colleague, Mary, Dr. Dahlgren, we were talking, we could just talk about moments with mentors. So, because we just defined mentorship, it's not just one person over a long period of time. However, some people do have long-term relationships with a mentor that they meet with all the time. But these could be moments with many mentors. And we're just going to let our mentors take it away and talk to all of us about what their moments are. So should we just start with Mr. Antonio Ferro? Would you like to start us off? I'm just looking at your beautiful face.
Mhm. Well, I'll tell you, because of our experiences, we've been very fortunate to have really walked into incredible mentorships. And the biggest one, of course, and I have always said this, has been my mentor and my teacher, and for many of us, our mentor, our teacher, Louisa Moats. And so when you're defining mentorship and someone who's been on the journey ahead of us, I mean, isn't that incredible? I mean, that's when that happens, uh, and you meet up with someone who is going to share these experiences and share the challenges and the success stories and being around that was probably the most incredible situation. But the thing is that the network, a network of mentors is incredible because, I mean, everyone's been on a journey already, the way I see it. And when you look at a mentor, you're driving, you're hanging on to that journey and those experiences and that mentor guiding you as well because of their experiences. So what a wonderful way to go through life's journey without, with somebody. I mean, you're not doing this alone. You're hanging out with someone. So this has been probably, my best journey because of all the wonderful mentors that I've been around with, starting with Louisa and then going on to all our other colleagues. Yeah.
Thank you, Antonio, Dr. Fierro. I want to also let you all know that we're here because we really want to be here to share with you. And while none of us are taking a paycheck for this, let's just put it that way. You might help pay a small fee to be a part of this mentorship opportunity, but we are so true to our authentic belief that literacy leadership is so desperately needed right now that we as a team of mentors for each other are coming together to share this wisdom with you and to figure out how to pay that forward and build pinnacle leadership in this world. And pinnacle leadership is something we'll talk along this mentorship journey. But, Antonio saying that part of that, we're all on journeys, and we are so grateful that you're joining this journey with us.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. It's a great journey. Yeah.
All right. So Terry, you want to tell us some about your mentorship moments?
So something else that's really important about mentorship is you never should just have one mentor. You should get mentor in many areas of your life. And so when it comes to literacy, Dr. Gordon Sherman, I know many of you may not know that name. He was a researcher when it came to brain science. Like, he's a doctor doing brain science turned educator. And Dr. Sherman, just his wisdom, I just got to sit at his feet and learn. He and Dee Rosenberg were some of my greatest mentors in this journey. I'll never forget, just some of the fine moments of just learning from Gordon in this work, learning from both Gordon and Dee. And they lit a fire in me around this work. Now, here's one thing I'll say. I don't think it's hard for us to find literacy mentors. My goodness, look around. They're everywhere. Louisa, at Big Sky Summit last year, we had Dr. Jack Fletcher, we had Dr. Hugh Katz, we had the greats. The literacy mentors are everywhere. But as I said at the Big Sky Literacy Summit that Danielle puts on every year, I said, look at these amazing people. What's missing in this work? They've been doing this work for 30 years, presenting on some of the same content. How come we haven't moved the needle in the United States? And I sat back because of my knowledge about leadership, and I said, it's because we have not led this work well. Not that they are not leaders, it's because we're not developing leaders. So when I did my PhD program in educational leadership and they wanted to tell me about busing schedules, I said, no, thank you. That's not leading literacy. That's when I went outside of education and I found John Maxwell and the mentors there in my life. And it's not just John, it's an entire team of individuals that help me with my speaking, help me with my communication, help me with coaching, help me with training, all of these things. And so not just one mentor, we need lots of mentors in our lives.
Terry, I agree with you. That's just, yeah, we do. We can be around so many great leaders as far as literacy. And when I joined you all for the Maxwell Leadership Conference, I was amazed. Yeah, what about the rest? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want it all, and that's when you get hungry for it all. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's what we're going to bring.
Yep.
So I am going to turn to Jeannie and say, Jeannie Shop, which Danielle pegged it. There's not a day that goes by that Jeannie doesn't text us and say, did you listen to this thing? Did you read this thing? Like, Jeannie, how do you have time to do all this stuff? But she does. Go, Jeannie.
Yeah. You know what, Danielle, when she posed that question about mentor moments, you know, I really paused on that and just really thought deeply about moment in time. And for me, I think for me, I more reflected on like, who would I be right now without the mentors that I've had in my life? And then who am I becoming because of the mentors in my life? Because I can't really just say this person, that person, because again, this work, there's just a collection of mentors, right? You're always learning. But I do know with all these amazing mentors that I've had in my life over the course of my career is I know that I'd be stuck in my past. I wouldn't be living into this new future and growing into this new space. But I also know, right, a key for me, like Danielle said, is having that super curiosity, right? But the reality is putting myself in spaces with all these amazing mentors. I also kind of had to embrace the discomfort of maybe not knowing and being real comfortable with discomfort, because you can't grow without discomfort, right? But I also know that I had to embrace being vulnerable and asking a lot of questions and being insatiable about learning and having that beginner's mindset, right? I'm going to learn something new every single day because I'm always learning and growing every single day. So yeah, I just feel like I can't just encapsulate like you can, Terry, of this one individual person. But I do know that it was really important for myself and my own growth is putting me in a room with people that are more successful, are more talented, and have been studying for a long time, because they aspire me to that level of excellence and greatness that I strive to every day.
And you do that. I'm going to tell you, you talk about somebody that's growing and learning. So Danielle, let's turn to you. I gave away one of your mentor moments earlier. I'm so sorry. If you're going to share that one.
That's fantastic. I'm so grateful to be here and to share some of my favorite mentors with all of you, to be honest with you. This team, to be a mastermind with this group of mentors is such an honor and so much fun growing. So mentor moments in my life, I'm going to tell you about an actual moment. In 2018, I had this moment where I felt like I was needing to do something great, and I didn't really understand what that needed to be. And I always, as a child, I felt always very called to do things. And I'm like, well, who am I supposed to meet? And what am I supposed to do? And there's this great book back on this shelf over here. It's called Who, Not How. So you don't always have to know how you're going to get there. You just have to know who you need to talk to. And I think that has a lot to say, because mentors are those who's in our lives. And so I happened to meet this pretty famous man named Bob Proctor. And he's since passed away. But when I met him and I spent 5 days learning with him, I mean, if you have that red bell that you bought that says reset button, it was like, boom, hit the reset button. And I just came to life. I was like, okay, I don't need to know how to do all of this, but I better know who to ask, and I better start having a very clear vision with very clear, clarity around who I keep in close company. And those people are our mentors. You are very much impacted by the 5 people you keep around you. So if you have people around you that are growing and learning and questioning, and you can't help but want to keep up and be like, oh my gosh, I want to know that too, and I want to read that book too. I just got a new book. I should have brought it down. It's called 10x is better than 2x. I'll probably teach a lesson on that on this mentorship series, because we're always growing together, and that moment in my life was a moment where that mentor named Bob Proctor really changed my life. He actually taught me about shifting paradigms, which I believe is something that in this science of reading experience, and as we move into more evidence-based and evidence-aligned practices, we are asking people to shift massive paradigms. This is what we're asking you to do here, to shift a paradigm about what we do in schools. Do we administer? Do we manage? Or do we lead? And that's what this mentorship is going to be all about for us. And that's what I really learned about in that moment, is like, open up to the opportunity on the other side of yes. Open up to the excitement that mentors can offer you. And Bob blew my mind. So that was a moment that changed me. So with that, I'm going to introduce my dear friend, and goodness, she was a mentor from the beginning when I entered the letters community that Louisa Moats invited me to. Dr. Mary Dahlgren, yes, iconic, but also truly human and lovely to be in the presence of, always real, always willing to give you her time. And she's going to share her mentorship moments, and we'll hand it off to Laura after that.
Wow. Thank you, Danielle. And what an introduction, because I think about all of us in this group and on this team and how we have been mentors for one another. And as I was like Jeannie, reflecting in mentorship moments and really thinking about in my life different mentors and how they've changed over time, different needs and in education, but then in other places in my life and growing. And as I reflected, I thought, most of my mentors have been women because of our profession. We tend to find a lot of women in our profession. And I thought about, so many of those women were definitely older and experienced women in many different areas. And I'm going to say, and I was thinking back before I ever started into letters training, just how did I get involved in being trained to become a dyslexia therapist? It was a woman who invited me to come into this training that was being offered through a foundation here, and happened to be a friend of my mother's, and said, would Mary be interested in this? We know she's a teacher. And how things evolved from that moment into other people who've been in my life and shown up, and then they go away for a little while and they come back, and sometimes you never see them again. It's just, being in that moment and being open to people. But I also have to I was thinking, I don't know that those were intentional mentor. I didn't think about it intentionally like we are in this moment and right now. And Danielle's really helped to make that happen for me, and her desire to learn. And as she was saying, learning about Bob Proctor and all the reading that she's doing, and her excitement for all of that, and other coaches that she's worked with and mentors, and thinking, okay, I want some of that. I want some of that joy and some of that excitement, and being in different places in our lives and knowing, I'm ready to do more. And at first, as we thought about this, I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm prepared to do this. And then as we're studying mentorship, and I'm thinking, oh, you have to have experience. I've got experience. I can talk about that. I've got some knowledge in this work that when we talk about literacy, and And we've all had our ups and downs that we can certainly relate to, things that people are going through. And I think empathy, compassion are so important, patience, and then having somebody, as Danielle said, that we can reach out to and that will respond. And I'm going to say, even as we're thinking about the Jack Fletchers and Hugh Katz of the world, you can email them and they will respond to you. That's the amazing thing. But being in a community when you can actually talk to people consistently is where that growth is going to happen. And having someone, our colleagues have said this already, having somebody that's leading, that's out in front. But today I was listening to a John Maxwell podcast, and he was talking about you can't be too far out in front because you're not connected with people. So being out in front and having the experience and being able to guide people until you can move and be behind and let the others take over, which I love that thought. And I'm excited about being here and being a part of this and getting to meet all of you, and hope that we have lots of growing and sharing together. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary. That was awesome. We are a group of individuals who are going to be here for you. We were talking about before we started this call that, and my dog wants to say hello too. So we will have our phone numbers accessible to you. We know that having a mentor means that sometimes you get into a pinch and you need to be able to communicate with people, and we do that for you. So just know that this is a real, we mean it when we say it. And so Mary said, yeah, you're going to need somebody to call sometimes, and that's what we'll do for you. So with that, we're going to put Laura on. She's our colleague who has definitely done, as Terry said, just incredible things. She is a connector. She's a compassionate soul. She's a lover of life, a radiator of light. And we are so privileged to have her as part of our family of mentors. And she is the Chief Academic Officer of 95% Group, and they are so lucky to have her. And we're grateful that she's leading that way. And we'll welcome you, Laura, and please tell us about your mentor moments.
Oh, well, thank you, Nell, for those kind words. That just really touches me so. And I have to tell you, I was with about 100 educational leaders today. We're in the midst of a 2-day seminar. And I have to say that in my facilitation, I brought each and every one of you into the conversation at some point today. So I just want to thank you all for being so influential in my life and for your leadership that you bring to bear in the work that I'm doing. I do have to say I've been incredibly fortunate to have had many mentors in my professional life. And many of you have said this already. It's really important to have a lot of different mentors. But when I was thinking about sharing with all of you tonight, I was thinking about one particular mentor that I wanted to describe her kind of characteristics as a mentor. And this is a woman, her name's Pleasant Rowland. She really changed the trajectory of my career and helped me move into kind of organizational leadership. And the characteristics I think she brought to my life are these. You know, the first thing, she was a great model. She was a model of a strong business leader, but a person who also deeply embodied a mission. She deeply cared about her business, of course, but she cared about education. She cared about children. And she knew that reading was, as all of us on this call tonight believe, you know, the key to the American dream, right? The key to, to leading a beautiful, literate life. And she deeply wanted to fulfill that dream for children. So I learned from her, that mission really can drive a profit. Profit can also drive a mission, but mission can really drive a profit. And somebody mentioned this earlier, how important it is for a mentor to teach you about yourself. And she really taught me about myself. She saw in me skills that I didn't necessarily see in myself. And she pushed me to develop those skills, things like straightforward communication and decision-making and being vulnerable, and how important it is to lead, as Mary said, with compassion. So that, the ability to see something in a person and say, I want to help you become what you want to be. I would also say, somebody had mentioned earlier, a mentor's always on a journey ahead of us. And she was definitely on the journey ahead of me. She was a woman who coming of age, she had to break through that glass ceiling. So she was very committed to helping young women who came up after her to kind of overcome barriers to leadership. So I think a mentor is always kind of looking back at her or his journey and thinking, how can I remove some of those obstacles that maybe I had to confront? The other thing I would say that I think is really important is, as a mentor, she was very clear about her standards. And I think this is really important for culture. I wanted to work in a place where I knew we were kind of all rowing in the same direction. We're all working hard. We're all working together. It's okay to take risks. It's important to continue to learn and grow. And you're surrounded by others who are skilled and competent and feeling the same way, because it raises the bar for everybody. And that in turn makes you really proud to be part of that organization. And that, of course, motivates you to do your best work and to bring your best self to work every day. So anyway, those are just some of the characteristics I thought of today when I was thinking about our conversation tonight. I will say I agree with everybody. Mentorship never stops. The journey never ends. And when I think about some of these characteristics, these are characteristics I want to embody, as I look at this stage of my career and how I really, really, truly want to help mentor and build capacity and bring others along from there.
Thank you, Laura. All right, so we're going to transition now into what this experience, if you're on the fence about joining the 6 of us plus some other wonderful mentors that will join us along the journey, what you get access to is a community of mentors who will be a part of your life along this journey. We'll present in a presentation style much like this. We're not PowerPoint driven, we're lesson driven. So that means we're going to pick a topic and we're each going to speak on that topic to drill deep, broad, and really give you different perspectives of our own perceptions of what specific content topics are. And our first one is literacy leadership. So we might talk about how literacy and leadership are 2 different things, but now we're putting them together. And what does it mean to be a literacy leader? So that will be the whole first month. So you'll also be getting that unique perspective of these 6 mentors who have deep knowledge of SOAR, but also deep knowledge of leadership. Almost all of us are certified Maxwell leadership coaches, trainers, speakers. So we've done the work to get trained as leadership coaches and leadership leaders to lead this work. You're getting live lessons, okay? So this on leadership content, but also on literacy content. The opportunity to ask questions every time we present. Just like tonight, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions. We'll do a lesson. It could be as short as 20 minutes, as long as 40, and will never go longer than 60 minutes, and they'll always be recorded. So access to that content from some of us, we might actually have some content we want to share. Terry and I are in the process of writing an actual 6-day leadership course that we're actually sharing in the state of Wisconsin right now. We sometimes like feedback from people. So we might want to share some of that and get some feedback with you. And that might help you understand how to help train or do more in your own situation or your district, school, state. We're going to have early access. I happen to be that chair of the Big Sky Literacy Summit as well. And so if some of you out there, that's a big deal. We've set our dates. Once we open that registration up, we do expect to sell out this year. So we're going to give you early access and other surprises and delights, as my colleague Terry likes to call them, along the 8-month journey. There will be surprises and delights because we do create fun things, and we might just share them with you and you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I'm going to use it tomorrow. So we do plan on having those types of things. I'm going to check the chat box here. Yeah. So we are on to dates and times and topics. Okay, everybody, those are the real dates. We're really going to show up on those dates. Everybody's been asking us. So write those down and we'll send out an email with dates and actual times. Our first topic is literacy leadership. We're going to be nailing that on Monday motivations and Wednesday wisdoms. What we're focusing on is an early morning Monday motivation and an afternoon Wednesday wisdom. Remember, they're all recorded. So if you can't make the live session, it's recorded. But if you make the live session and want to ask questions, that's going to give you a great opportunity to ask questions. And we're just going to wrap it up with the value. So right now, if you're not a part of this, it's a $49.95 cost, and that's going to expire on the 13th, which is Friday, and the price will change to $79.95. But you get all of those benefits. You get 8 months of teaching with the mentors, and you get access to this content, and we'll have access to the content for a year after too. So it's asynchronous, which means listen whenever you want, or synchronous. And one last thing I want to add is that this opportunity is such a value. I mean, I can't even express what kind of value you're getting here. This is an incredible opportunity for you to jump into something that we hope will start a trend in the field of education, where we start mentoring all people. And if you're a teacher, if you're a leader, if you're a superintendent, if you're a principal, we want all of you. This isn't about only principals or only superintendents. This is about everybody doing this work together and leading from where they are, as Terry likes to say. So let's finish it up with final thoughts and questions. This is a free session, and we're going to pop it onto YouTube so you can share it with anybody. If anybody wants to say, oh my gosh, look at this, let's do this as a team. This is going to be offered on YouTube. But once the series begins, we'll post all videos to the community on Kajabi. And if you have already paid, you have access to Kajabi. And what we'll do is, I created a video for the Big Sky Literacy Summit, and I realized that video of walking people through, here's how you sign on to Kajabi. Here's what the community of Kajabi is. I'll make one of those videos, so you won't be going, I don't know what this is. Kajabi is a pretty cool platform. It actually has an app, so you can have it on your phone, and you can listen to these while sitting in the car, just like you would a podcast. Once they're, the asynchronous mode. So once you get into the community, there's a chat forum. We'll post videos there, and you'll have that access for this whole year. So just know that if you don't have an access and you've paid, please let my virtual assistant, Veta, know, or just email me, and I'll make sure you get access. So we're going to open it up to questions and or closing comments from the mentors. Any questions out there? I see a lot of things in the chat box.
Yeah, and if you want to pull down the slide, and we'll just sit here and chat for a few minutes. One of the things that I did want to mention is really being clear about the fact that just because we are mentors in this doesn't mean that we don't mess up. In fact, it's probably about 2 or 3 times a week that Jeannie, Nell, and I, others, Laura, whoever, like, oh, I had a really big wobble today. Oh, I had a really big fail today. And so this isn't about, oh, we've mastered it and we know exactly every move to make. It is recognizing our wobbles, course correcting, learning, and growing along the way. So I like to say that a lot too, because boy, do we wobble.
Yes, we do. We definitely wobble.
Yeah.
So, and that's what, leading, like Mary said, John, our greatest mentor in leadership, Maxwell, we want to cross the finish line together. And sometimes you're too far out in front, or your vision isn't clear to people, or you haven't been communicating, or something's going off, and you're like, okay, we're not all in this right now. And that happens to be Terry and I's experience last week, actually. So we're real, and we're working with a lot of leaders right now. So any questions out there? Let me see. Yep. Great. Thanks, Rebecca and Vicky. And we honestly will get to know you. We want you to be talking with us. This is like meant to be friendly chats, not us teaching you. We're showing up for you, but we want to help by hearing you too. Any thoughts, questions?
I just have to make a comment. I
Yeah.
know I recognize several of you all in the group, Vicki from Minnesota and Rebecca from Georgia, who's also one of Malt Joshi's students. So we have a connection there, and now she's at the speech school there. So great. It's so great. And I know it's just so much fun to see Abby with her children. And knowing that you guys were at Big Sky, or you were at Big Sky, and seeing everybody that's here with us, and you are so, we're looking forward to doing this work with you.
And know that we have over, I think it's over 60 people that are already part of the family. Okay. So this is a small showing, and that's okay. But like I said, sometimes it will be small showing, and you get to like just really talk to us if need be. Love it. Vicki giving a shout out to Antonio and Mary.
Yeah. Hey, Vicki. And Claudia. Hey, Claudia.
Yeah. All right, then. So just know if you have any further questions, you have my email. We'll be sharing on our mentorship calls phone numbers every now and again, just to remind you that if you have questions, just text us. We know that even though we give you that stuff, we don't get inundated with a severe amount of questions. People are like thoughtful and like, no, I really need a mentor right now. So we know that. And we are so grateful that you showed up, and please share this recording with anybody who you think might want to be a part of mentorship. We can't wait to welcome them to the family. And there you go. We're grateful, and we'll see you very soon. And I'll send out an email with dates and times, and we'll get this mentorship started.
Thank you all for being willing to serve as mentors for us. I know that is a time commitment, but I am sure everyone agrees that we appreciate you. Could somebody put a link in the chat where if I want to share with some other literacy leaders in my state, I can send a link directly to before the YouTube videos even posted for just the information on this?